Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cybersecurity Recruiter Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Gary Alterson. How you doing, my friend?
Hey there, Thomas.
You okay, man? You had a good week?
I'm doing great.
Good. It's nice to see you. For all the listeners, me and Gary jumped in the virtual studio and we basically started talking, mate, didn't we? We pretty much forgot to hit record, but we've had a nice chat already, haven't we?
We have. We're done. You can go.
Yeah, we're doing. Yeah, thanks everyone. Bye. No, it's good to see you, my friend, and yeah, nice that you're travelling about and having some fun and getting some work done in the process. But I'm just going to do you a bit of an intro, guy, for the listeners that don't know you. Started off many years ago in technical consulting and networking and system engineering. You then spent almost a decade at Zurich Financial Services, progressed really nicely there from security architect right the way up to the lead of compliance and risk strategy. You also spent time at Cisco, got promoted there on multiple occasions, went all the way up to director level. Rackspace, you were P of security solutions there. At KVU Consulting, you were a VP there. And you are currently at Armour Defence. Started off there as VP of Solutions, Consulting and Professional Services, and you are now VP of Customer Solutions and Success. Welcome to the show.
Hey, glad to be here.
Yeah, nice to see you, man. I've done you a bit of an intro there, but where I always start is, who are you? What do you get up to? What's a day in the life like at the minute for you?
Oh, goodness. So who I am, I've been in security for almost 30 years at this point. And the thing that I love about security is there's always something new, right? You're always learning in order to understand how to protect something and understand the threats against it. You got to understand the thing, right? So always learning something new, always learning and being on the forefront of technology, whether it's the shift from PCs to client servers to virtualization to cloud. And now we're always continually learning. I'm also deeply invested in the mission. In fact, one of the reasons why I love being now in the vendor space, I left Zurich and went into first consulting and then have stayed in the vendor space, is because I feel like it can make a huge impact across a large number of organizations, all who are doing really important things, right? I look at it as my job is to help my customers who all have very important missions, whether it's healthcare, finance, manufacturing, keep them from having the worst day possible, which is learning that you've had a breach and your mission is being sacrificed. So
Yeah.
love that. We'll continue to do it until I, one day when I'm 90 or something, decide to retire.
Yeah, cool. Do you think in 30 years, do you think this is probably the most exciting it's ever been?
I think it's always been exciting, but I am excited about the changes in the industry and what artificial intelligence is bringing to the table, I'm excited from a couple of different perspectives too. I'm excited from the business automation in general and the opportunities for our customers. I'm excited about what we're doing at the organization I'm at, Armour Defense, where we've fully embraced AI. Our SOC is fully agentic. We now automate probably about between 80 and 90% of our triage. Never is done, not by our SOC, but through our AI agents. We've embraced it from a technology, internal process, development process perspective, and we've learned a whole lot about engineering with AI, building software with AI, building software for AI as well. And it's been an incredible journey and I'm super excited. Yes, there are threats. AI is moving. Threat actors can move faster, but defenders can move faster. And quite frankly, I think the value to organizations as a whole is really great. There are risks, of course. There are threats, and organizations are struggling with the adoptions of AI. We've heard from our customers, there are two kinds of customers. the customers who were just like, send it. And you know what? They're using it and they're like, we'll figure out the risks as we go. The other organizations have locked it down, right? And said, too risky. I want to do it, or we're going to do it in little pockets here or there. But both these organizations are struggling. It's just they all have the same challenges. It's just how they've decided to approach it, right? And that is data security privacy is a really big concern for organizations. In addition to that, I think there's now everyone's recognizing the fact that there's a risk around spend, right? And the ability for tokens to be consumed a whole lot faster than organizations expect, right? Uber's already come out and said they've used their budget for the year. Microsoft has decided to slow down some AI adoption because they can't afford it, and Microsoft can't afford it. Other organizations are struggling with it as well. We found that as we started to develop AI, our costs, our token usage go through the roof as we get better at using AI. And then the third is getting quality outcome for that spend, right? And I think there's we all hear about AI slop, but I'll just say a lot of sloppy usage of AI that just having some templates and guardrails, some ability to improve AI usage, improve the prompts, or give them some templates to use. Hey, don't go write your own agent, your own skill. Here's our organizational skills and agents that we know do the job well, can help also organizations get the better use of AI.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan. I think that, by the way, but I think the cost thing will just be, obviously, we were talking about it before about when the tokens stopped being subsidized by the VCs, probably when Anthropic IPO and stuff like that. But you're right, like at the start, and it's still massively exciting now. And I can remember when we were talking about planning this show, like I could tell, like listening to all the stuff you had going on and your team had going on, and like you were getting excited, and that's like quite infectious. And I can remember coming off that call, like going, yeah, like this is really cool. But I think at the start, it's like, was probably from most companies that much excitement. That's probably caused some overspend. And like you said, it's everyone now is starting to think about outcomes, because things can look really cool, but they've got to deliver an outcome.
Yeah. And that's where I think organizations have some choices to make, right? And I think that when you look at the model providers, OpenAI, Claude, et cetera, right? They've got perverse incentives. Their incentive is to have you use more, spend more. Their incentive isn't to have you use it better. Their incentive is to lock you into their ecosystem, right? Their model, not, hey, let's use a variety of models. And what we found is we've been doing our development in our engineering. First, we changed the model in which we did engineering overall, and we restructured our engineering teams. But we also found from a technology perspective that different models have different goods, different bads, are better at different things, right? And even within a certain model provider like Claude, you might use Opus and Fable to do some planning. In all reality, you probably don't need them to do their code. You look at where CNET is in, or even in some cases Haiku, they are well capable as well in doing a lot of tasks without having to pay for the extra token usage. And what we've done, we started internally routing different tasks to different models. We've also built our own internal model for some tasks as well, or actually a couple models, because our SOC doesn't send customer data to public models. We've got our own model for them. We've got a couple other models we built that we've built essentially a harness, started internally, and now we've launched it called Sovereign AI that allows us, one, to keep control over our user usage of it. So we can make all the policy choices we want, whether it's data security, whether it's spend, or whether it's access, and we can lock that down. We learned, hey, as we started to adopt AI, keys started going everywhere, right? Everybody API key to hook up this to their MCP, or you know what, I want to hook Claude up to HubSpot, or I want to hook up Claude to Jira or whatever. We had keys going all over the place. So we centralized keys into this as well. And we could put policy around keys. And so we've got a secure structure where we isolate every user and then we can assign policy to it. And then we said, if we can assign policy, we can also control spend. Right. So then we know that we can assign, and anybody can do this now with sovereign AI, which is you can set spend limits on a per user, per project, per department basis, or you could just watch and just know who's spending what, right? Or you could set actual budgets and enforce those. And then the third thing is we've learned not everybody knows how to use AI well, right? We built in prompt improvers. So you write a bad prompt. Hey, I want to write a report for my CEO about AI security. And the prompt improver interviews you and then builds a really structured, well-formatted prompt that will help you ultimately get better outcomes and probably save you a whole bunch of tokens, because what people normally do is, oh, that stinks. Let me send another prompt and rewrite it. Let me send another prompt and rewrite it.
Yeah.
And it gets rid of those. We also said, we know for our development teams, they're better off when there's a set of agents that are doing the development and that the agents go through multiple loops with adversarial rotation. So write code, criticize it, rewrite code, criticize it, write code, right? And you get better outcome, better code when you go through that loop. Same thing, build a plan, your plan. So we built that into a concept we call swarms of agents that accomplish particular tasks that users can select to do certain things that are pre-built. And we also said, you know what? This whole idea of coding with AI and vibe coding is like a singular task, right? And ultimately, especially when you're coding, the coding plans are really important. And so those plans are typically only available to one person in the prompt window, and they're on your PC, you're in Claude, or you're in Google Codex, and you're like, build a plan. It's only available to you. We've started publishing those plans into a central repository where other people can contribute and share and comment on plans before launching them, so that the vision of what the outcome is can still be a shared vision.
Cool. I like that. Is that like internally within your client base?
Really within your organization, you can say, hey, people working on this project, you've got 5 developers working on a project. It's no longer a plan for one person. It's a plan 5 people can contribute to before you send it off to that swarm in the agentic AI to do the work.
Yeah, cool. Gary, do you know what? It's really interesting to listen to you speak, and the recruiter in me, when I'm hearing you talk about internally rerouting different tests and talking about token spend a lot and talking about swarms and this and that, and like people out there are worried about their jobs going, and I'm like, hang on a minute. No, this like, the like world-class fundamentals of understanding security and critical thinking skills and experience and just being smart. Like listening to you speak then, I'm like, as a recruiter, I'm like, no, like talent matters, like talent and abilities and expertise matters more than ever, I would argue.
I totally agree, right? And the skills, I think, are changing from a technical standpoint, but the base sort of talent and capabilities an individual has, I don't think that's changed, right? I've always looked, when I've hired, for people who are curious, people who are constantly learning, people who are willing to take risks and experiment, and people who don't wait to be given something, right? People who are just self-starters, or the people who are always just give me more. And hasn't changed, because those are the people who I think ultimately end up being great adopters of AI and picking up those skills. You can always tell, my view is, and this may be controversial, but I think the best way to learn AI is to use AI. You can always tell the people who are like, I took a training course, I use AI, or I've been chatting in AI, but I haven't really done a whole lot of experimentation. The courses don't keep up. By the time the course is published, they're out of date. And so the best way to learn something is to just ask the darn thing itself. I'm learning right now how to build small language models. You know who I'm asking? I'm asking Claude how to do it. I'm not going off and trying to find books and read books. Claude's, if I need to have something explained to me, Claude will explain to me. If I get stuck, Claude will help me get unstuck. I'm learning from the thing that I'm learning about. And I think that's something that people get stuck in. The other thing I think I look for in people who use AI is not just using it to be smarter, but also be more efficient, right? There's sort of two users of AI I've noticed. One is I write a prompt and then I go eat some popcorn while the prompt is running, right? Or the agent's doing something and I come back. The others are I go write a prompt, and then while that's running, I'm going to do 2 other tasks or set 3 other prompts up, go, and then come back to the first one, right? And so I can accomplish 3 or 4 times more work with AI versus just get quality output.
Yeah, it's a good point, that is, Gary, because I think with the role mentality, you could soon fall into certain people could soon fall into the gap of going, oh, it's being done. I'll just go and chill.
Great. I'm more efficient. I get more time to myself. It's fine, right? And if that's your goal, that's fine. But if it's to advance in your career, I get more efficient so I can get more output.
Definitely. Yeah. When you're hiring, you're looking for people that are looking to 10, 20, 50x themselves rather than take the chair option.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Cool. All right. When you're talking about the prompt improvers and the shared repository, is this part of the products that we were talking about earlier, or is that separate?
Yes. So we took all the things that we have been learning over our AI journey, and we put them all into a platform called Sovereign AI, solveai.com. There's $1, ring it there. It is essentially a platform for organizations to set policies, to define swarms. It will come. If we built something internally as a swarm, we're also sharing it with customers so that they can define their own swarms, their own agents, their own skills. And we've spent a lot of time on hey, we know people will buy this for security. We've done a lot on security. We've done a lot on content policies, a lot on giving choices of models and routing and spend and controls and things like that. But what we've said is, in order for people to really want to use it, you need your users actually getting productive in it, right? It's got to have a great user experience as well. So we've spent a lot of time on user experience and either matching or surpassing what you can get from a Google or a Claude in terms of user experience, because we know we've all been subject to, okay, security comes, here's a control, your user experience is worse, right?
Yeah.
And that's not great. People try to go around it, et cetera. So we spent a lot of time on user experience as well for Sovereign AI. And what it is, it essentially allows an organization to apply those policies, apply choices around models to use, and then start to build, A, have their users work in it, B, build those swarms. And then we said, we can take those swarms and make them autonomous and build workflows, which are essentially basically allowing the AI agents to go do stuff on your behalf, access data, et cetera. So essentially we built for lack of a better term, a poor man's Palantir. It allows you to also do a whole bunch of orchestration for your organization via agentic AI and workflow as well. And we've seen some great benefits from it. One, our output is better. We're debugging Sovereign AI with Sovereign AI at this point. But anytime there's a feature, we're using Sovereign AI to build it. And what we found, first of all, is because we do have a couple private models we can route work to. One, we're saving money on token usage overall. Two, some of those workflows have become very valuable for us. We just did a workflow on reviewing our AWS usage every night and shutting down instances and things like that aren't being used. We think that's saving us about $10,000 a month just from that alone. We found that when everybody in the company had Claude subscriptions, really only about 4 or 5 people in the company were using 100% of their subscriptions and running out. Most people are using 10 or 20% of that, but you're still paying for all that token usage. You can't reuse it. You can't share it. So we now pool that and just use API usage. And even if we just did that alone without the private model, we'd be saving a whole bunch of money on subscriptions as well.
Yeah, cool, Gary. And with Sovereign AI, you and your team are there. You're there all the time, like helping, building, refining, and helping the customers as well. Because I think that's a massive thing. I won't name any names, but I've seen some like companies I've hired for that have purchased like big products, SEMs and stuff.
Mhm.
And so often sometimes people don't even know what they've purchased, I found. So I think having that ongoing support is massive. Such a big thing.
Yeah, we have a support team. I lead the customer success team as well. And for Sovereign AI, to get started, it's pretty simple, right? And we've got self-help built in. You can ask Sovereign AI. You want to know how to use Sovereign AI? You can ask Sovereign AI. It will tell you. We've got that knowledge base built in. But what I found is a lot of organizations don't understand the different models, different benefits, the benefit of potentially using a private model, even just consulting on, hey, for Sovereign AI in those user instances, you can host them with us. You can host them yourself. Let me help you make a decision what's better for you based on what your requirements or whether or not you're going to host your private models in the cloud, on your own GPU, on our GPU. There's options there to help customers with. And then over time, I suspect customers will also come to us and ask them to help fine tune those models over time. Right now, it's all about just getting people on the platform, using the platform, because the more usage, the more feedback we get, the better we make that platform.
Yeah, cool. And Gary, just to be clear, so it's like policies, procedures, everything SOC related as well. Is that what Sovereign's doing?
So yeah, the platform is for any kind of work you want to do in your organization, right? Whether it's development, whether it's marketing, whether it's just, hey, I'm just a knowledge worker and I just want to chat. That all flows through Sovereign AI.
Okay, cool. And the benefits are privacy, spend optimization,
privacy, controlling the content, controlling your IP. I think I just came out with, you pay for your token usage twice, once for actually paying for the tokens, two for giving up your IP to the models who learn on it over time, right? For IP protection, for content protection, for privacy, for security.
Yeah.
We've got policy for that. It's for spend control as well. And then all the pre-built templates, the prompt improver, the swarms, the workflow are all about getting better outcomes and usage and driving your business better with AI.
One thing I think is already massive, but I think it will just be even more, is the privacy. Like when you think about privacy and content and intellectual property, and you've probably heard some stories as well, but I've heard stories about people just doing some crazy stuff with some really valuable IP, and you just think that privacy thing that's going to be a big one.
That is, right? That's the whole concept first around the name, like Sovereign AI, and why we chose it, because essentially that's what it's about. But we just expanded that concept to be not just controlling the data, but controlling all the decisions about AI usage within your organization.
Cool, mate. You've been busy, my friend. You and the team. And you're going to Black Hat and you're really going to get rocking and rolling with it and showing off to everyone in Vegas, yeah?
Absolutely. Totally looking forward to it.
Yeah. And I'm sure you'll have some fun there as well, and hopefully find time for plenty of beers and a few coffees and stuff like that, hopefully.
I will probably find time for a few beers, yeah. And definitely coffee.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think the security industry would be what it is without coffee. I don't know how many you're on a day at the minute, but I think my tally's up to about 6 or 7 a day. I'm not shy when it comes to coffee.
It's better that I don't count.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. Okay, I'll stop. I like that.
Yeah.
It's cool. Anything else, Gary, on Sovereign? Anything else?
I think I also run our SOC as part of our organization as well. And there's a lot of young folks in our SOC. Because while I talked a lot about sovereign AI, we still have other products in our MDR product, our Armor Enterprise Cloud product, and a whole bunch of other things that are driven by our SOC. There's a lot of young people in the SOC, and they're always constantly asking me for career advice, right? And I've settled on one thing that I think, of course, there's a lot, right? But one of the important things that I tell all the people who work for me who are young, who ask for career advice, is three things I tell them. One is, and probably the most important one, is always be willing to take a risk. And always say, when there's an opportunity, always say yes. I find as a manager, I don't like to delegate work, right? First thing I do is I go, and a lot of managers do this. Hey, who wants to do X in a team meeting? And the room goes dead silent. Those people who really stand out, and the thing that I've always done in my career is I've always said, I'll take it. And I've never been afraid of a risk. There's plenty of projects I have taken that on the onset, I had no clue how I was going to accomplish it. I didn't even know the topic, right? But I still said, yes, I'll take it. Because one, it forces me to learn. And two, yes, I'm a risk taker. It also helps me stand out from the rest of the organization who takes a step back to be the guy who always steps forward, right? And as a leader, that gets noticed, right? And then the second thing is then be really good at time management, because you are taking on new things all the time. Because everybody's like, oh, I'm too busy, right? That's part of the reason why people step back. One is they don't want to take the risk. And two is they're too busy. So get really good at time management. And time management is the art of doing everything. It's the art of choosing what you're going to get in trouble from not doing. So it's ruthless prioritization.
Yeah.
And then third is find a mentor. I can't tell you that the mentors I've had, I have gotten a lot of great advice over the years from mentors, whether it's been something super tactical or long-term strategic career advice through mentors. Even now, I've got like a network of people who we consider co-mentors, where we just call each other, ask questions, work on problems together. And I think that's really important. And mentor folks. And I get a lot out of it as well. They mentor me back. I'm learning from them. But mentoring, I think, is a career accelerator.
Yeah, I think, do you know what as well, Gary? I feel like having that co-network you've got, that network that you've got, I really like that, because like I look at certain things online and it's almost, to not have someone in your life that's mentoring, it can easily almost, there is that much information being thrown at us, and like I can go on LinkedIn and find 5 different opinions about the same thing. So to have that real life in person. Yeah.
There's a lot of bad advice online, right? I think a lot of people write advice online, and this is more, in theory, this would be great, but it is how the world really works. I'm sure that in recruiting all the time, right? Anybody can go online, you post a little bit on LinkedIn and say, hey, I'm a thought leader, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of, I think, bad advice that filtering out with that co-mentoring group really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think a key thing for people listening, like, I'd take advice from you because you're doing it now. Like, you're actually doing it. I think I don't know if you see it as well. I see it in recruitment where you've maybe got someone that did recruitment really maybe 10 years ago, and they're now been a coach. And I think that's where you can get that gap. Whereas if you're getting advice from people that are on the cold face doing it, they're leading
or young folks getting into the industry, trying to make a name for themselves by posting advice, but having lived enough of the industry or experienced enough of the industry to give good advice.
Yeah, definitely. I think the thing about saying yes to everything as well, Gary, that's such a good one. Someone told me that when you're really young and new in your career, you should say yes a lot. And then as you really climb up the ladder, then you should maybe start saying no a bit more. I don't know how true that is.
It depends, right? It depends what you say no to. So yeah, ruthless prioritization matters. There's a lot I say no to, but I can guarantee you when my CEO comes to me with something, I say yes, right? He calls me the utility player because when the company needs something done, he'll come to me and make sure it happens, right? Because I say yes. And I don't know what I'm doing, but sometimes I'll figure it out. Or I won't, and I'll fail, but at least I've tried, right? But yeah, that means also there are things that people come to me on that I'll push back on. But yeah, even now is in the, I won't say waning years or twilight career or anything like that, but having been around a while, I still, if there's a leader that comes to me with a problem, I want to go solve it.
Yeah, I think the length of time, that is a thing there, because like you said at the top of the show, like you've been in the game for 30 years. Like people should just let that sink in, because it's so easy to think, oh, I'll just do that. But it takes time. It takes time, mate, doesn't it? Like it takes time to, And that's the world we live in now. It's so I'm guilty of it myself. You just look at different things, and the comparison game is a nightmare game to play, but it's an easy game to play in the social media age, where you can look at him, look at her. But if someone's 30 years into their career and you're 4 years in, you can't really compare. It's not a fair comparison, is it?
Yeah.
So yeah, on the time management front, I don't know if you've ever tried this. One thing I've done a lot of is just blocking off 2 hours really early in the day and just not letting anything get in my way. Often before
my calendar has blocks every day for focus time. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter. And then if I know I have a task to get done that is a must get done, I will block specific time on the calendar for it, right? Because otherwise your time just gets eaten up in essentially meetings, right? Everybody wants to have a meeting about everything, and you end up working on the urgent, but not the important.
Yeah. There was a course I did, recruitment course actually. One of the big things they had in it was called Fire Mode, and it was talking about the first 2 hours of the day, and everyone's different. For me, this really helped. Get up in the morning, no food, just a couple of coffees, and just those first 2 hours of the day, if I go really intense, I could just get so much done.
I start probably around between 6:30 and 7 every day, because my team stand up is at 8:15 a.m. and I get more done in that hour and a half than I do the next 4 hours.
Yeah, definitely. And I know the feeling as well about getting pulled into meetings, because if I get up before anyone on my team gets up, that's when you can get the most of, because it's all important. Like you said, it's not like you're having a meeting and just chatting about. It's all needs doing. But yeah, it's amazing how a day, even a week, just goes. And it's like the older I get, the quicker it goes as well.
And there are still things that I don't get done, right? There are things that in any leadership team that I've been in, people think that leaders are perfect, right? You go to any leadership team meeting who's going through tasks, you will hear leaders go, I didn't get that done. I'm going to push it off. My next date is this, right? Or I'm not going to get that done next week. It's going to take me another 2 weeks to do it. It's something leaders do as well, right? The leaders prioritize really well on hopefully the stuff that's important to get done. The only advantage we have as leaders is we can also choose things to delegate. When, like I tell the folks, at the bottom of my organizational periods, you can delegate too. You're just delegating to the garbage can. Just be clear on what you're delegating to the garbage can. Or, you know what? Yes, I know there are tasks in your task list. There might be 40 tasks. You can only get done 30 this month. The other 10 they may never get done, right? If I'm not asking you about them all the time, you know what? Maybe they're not the most important things, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Cool. Gary, I'm going to ask you a question right at the end about the book that's had the biggest impact on you. And I'm just going to ask you, before I ask you that one, I'm just going to ask you one more about progression and your career progression. So you've got up to director level and then VP level, and you've been at VP level. What do you think? Maybe you've answered some of this already, but maybe there might be some other nuggets in there as well. But what's enabled you to get up to that level where maybe others haven't? Is there anything you know now that you maybe wish you knew 5 or even 10 years ago that could have helped you?
I think there's a particular mentor I had who was quite a tough boss at the time. I was like super comfortable, who made me super uncomfortable, right? But he had a very interesting point of view, which is most people tend to default to the lazy and comfortable. And so to stand out, it doesn't take a whole lot more effort to stand out. You just have to be a little less comfortable, a little more willing to work, and you can get a lot done and stand out in your career just by working a little harder and a little faster than everybody else, right? And you totally stand out. I heard somebody else say it, the one-eyed man rules in the land of the blind, right? Incrementally, you can stand out by just willing to take on a little bit of risk or do a little work. And it's really easy to outwork other folks. I used to joke, I did a virtual CISO gig at a bank for a while. And this is right after I had that boss and that mentor. And I went to go build and publish a new set of security policies for the whole bank. And I got told that was a 3-year process, right? I pushed them through in 6 weeks. And it was because I wasn't letting other people slow me down. I was working hard. I was working faster. I was pushing other people and didn't wait. And just got it done in 6 weeks, the 3-year process. And so it doesn't take a whole lot more effort to really drive things through if you are willing to be uncomfortable and push a little, make other people uncomfortable. I had another mentor on the sales side who said, from a sales perspective, you're not annoying somebody until they tell you you're annoying them. So keep pushing. But that's true internally as well, right? If you need to get something done, everybody needs help from other people, right? So obviously, you want to build good networks, but also you want to push other people. I mean, until they tell you to stop, keep pushing.
Yeah, definitely. I always call it polite and persistent. And I've had scenarios where we're dealing with companies, we've got partnerships going on. There's a bit of tension there, but afterwards, when you have pushed, like a lot of the times they come back and you end up getting better results. So at the time, they're not thanking you, but afterwards, they often come back and thank you.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to work in a couple of small organizations. Armor's one of them. NeoHapsis back in the day, where we had culture pushing each other, right? And it's sometimes really tense conversations. It's uncomfortable conversations. But after those uncomfortable conversations, you make a decision that's behind you and you go out for a beer or you go out for dinner or whatever, right? You can still be friendly and you can build friendships and great relationships and challenge each other.
Yeah. I actually think it is probably I actually think it makes the relationship stronger.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's interesting. It's that, and far as you go, it's so interesting. One of my friends' dads, he owns a really big car company in the UK, and I asked him a similar question ages ago, and he actually gave a similar answer to what you just gave there. He was talking about showing up every day, and he said something like, "Told me you don't need to be a superstar," but he went, "Just show up every day, just do what you can every single day." And he goes, "The compound effect of that means you'll just smoke everyone long term. It's the compound effect of doing it again and again." Because like you said, not many people will.
Not many people will. There was a point earlier in my career, I think it was at Zurich, where I had a period of time, or I still do this sort of mentally, but it wasn't as explicitly as I do it then, where I said, I'm going to make sure once a day I get something deliverable done. No matter how much it costs me in terms of time or sleep or whatever. And be surprised how fast you can get through your to-do list. And you stand up when you do that. It allowed me to do things when my boss came to go, yes, I will take that.
Yeah. No, it's good, mate. It's good. Book can be book, Gary. I used to say which book has it had the most positive impact on you, but it can be book, it could be podcast, it could be online content. But it doesn't have to be security, but it can be. But just anything that's made you the best version of yourself that could also help the listeners, my friend.
Oh, goodness. There's sort of life philosophy books, stuff like that. If you go back way back when on just enjoying life, the Tao of Pooh, way back when. But if I look recently and professionally, probably podcast that I'd made that's made the biggest impact for me has been a podcast called Manager Tools. And there's a companion podcast called Career Tools that's just all about simple, easy to use tools to either manage your team or manage your career, and from people who've done it, right? Not theory. And I think it's the simple, it's very prescriptive, right? Because a lot of them are like, a lot of podcasts are like, hey, you should do this, but they never explain how. The nice thing with this is there's a lot of how, but there's also a lot of realism, right? There's a lot of, yes, this does suck, but this is the way it is.
Cool. I like that. So that's the manager tools. Are they actually management tools to improve your management skills or managing your own work?
Both basically, right?
Okay.
Career
Cool.
tools helps you a little bit more. Manager tools is the management side of it. And then they've got an executive tools for executives as well.
Cool, mate. Well, thanks, Gary. I think we've done good, mate. It's been nice, and thanks for making time. I know for everyone listening, Gary's traveling over to Dallas, and I know you're in Black Cat, and I know you're just a busy man with the team in general. So thanks for making the time. I knew it would be, but it's been a nice chat.
It's been fun, Thomas. Thank you very much.
Yeah. There was
you listeners get something out of it, and it's not blame Thomas.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, thanks again, mate. It's really good.